No, the starters probably aren't going to play much, if at all, this weekend against the New York Jets, but there is still plenty to gain for this handful of players.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers, the #1 Packers podcast on the internet. And the show for fans who know what happened, they want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. The Green Bay Packers are going to kick off their preseason efforts against the New York Jets this weekend. It's Justin Fields' triumphant return to playing the Green Bay Packers. And Matt LaFleur, we talked about this yesterday with the starters, Jordan Love said, hey, I think we're all preparing like we're going to play, which is not the same thing as saying, yes, I expect to play X amount of time. He's echoing what the head coach is saying, and that is everyone needs to prepare this week like they're going to play. Be focused, be ready. This is the kind of message you want to hear from your head coach, your star player, your quarterback, okay? Regardless of that, though, I don't know that there's much to glean from whatever happens with most of the starters. Because I expect guys like Josh Jacobs not going to play anyway. Or if he plays a series, but I don't expect Josh Jacobs to even suit up. Xavier McKinney, another guy, I don't expect to suit up. Rashawn Gary, another guy, I don't expect to suit up. So if we just kind of sweep that stuff to the side, the guy who I expect to be the biggest contributor this year, or the player for whom the Packers have the highest hopes this year, with the most to gain this weekend, is Jordan Morgan. And I'm not sure it's close, because everyone got to see Jordan Morgan play on family night at left tackle, and it was not great. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't as bad as it was made out to be, but it wasn't great. And my priors say he's a guard, so it just confirmed my priors that he's a guard. Rasheed Walker is working his way back from injury. It would be very convenient for the Packers to just say, "Hey, Rasheed, you're working your way back. We appreciate it. Keep working. You got it." But Jordan Morgan's going to start at left tackle for the Packers against the Jets. He has an opportunity in a game, not a practice, in a game, not the game, a preseason game, to say, look, I can do this. And maybe he can, maybe he can't, but a really good exhibition game can go a long way. Because the Packers don't know. They've never seen him play an NFL game, even an exhibition game, at left tackle. They've seen him with some practices against Lucas Van Ness, who, by the way, is coming on strong. So to me, I'm not even sure, as I was trying to put together the list for this, of like guys that I think have the most to gain. I don't know that anyone is even close to Jordan Morgan. Because it could be the difference between him getting a real shot to play left tackle and not. If he has an uninspiring performance, it might just be over with the left tackle thing. Now, that could lead to him, directly competing then with Sean Ryan at right guard, and maybe no harm, no foul there, because he was always going to be a guard. But it just seems like him having a chance to play left tackle is the kind of thing that gets him going the way that the Packers want him going. Or it's proof that he can't do it, and then they get him going the way that he needs to be going. And as I mentioned, I had a hard time coming up with some other players on this list. We're going to talk about Javon Bullard again coming up. So the name that really strikes me here is Isaiah Simmons. Someone who was getting opportunities when Quay Walker was out because Isaiah McDuffie was having to play the mic with Edrin Cooper. Edrin Cooper is the no-doubt starter, and Quay Walker, when he plays, is the no-doubt starter. Then it's, who is that other linebacker, that Sam linebacker? Well, the Packers think that Isaiah Simmons is well-suited to that position. I frankly don't think that Isaiah McDuffie is, but if they think Isaiah Simmons is, then I also have questions about what they want out of that role. That's 20-30% of snaps. I don't know that anyone else is vying for that sort of snap share right now, other than maybe Jordan Morgan, who isn't going to get it already. Like, I think Matthew Golden is vying for that, like has that sort of disparity that he could be looking at. But I think he's on his way to being there no matter what. I don't see a scenario, if he's healthy, that he's not one of the most on the field, most targeted, most productive receivers in this offense based on what we've seen so far. But Isaiah Simmons, if he can win this job, you ball out. I know it's just an exhibition game, but like, you flash the things that he's already flashed, things that we've already seen him do in NFL games in his career. Well, now you're giving yourself a chance to be a real part of this linebacker rotation for the Packers to find ways to get you involved, to find ways to keep you on the field. And then when it comes to players who are making bids to be on this team, I think Mecole Hardman is another one. He seems to make a play or two a day, and was a real contributor on multiple Chiefs Super Bowl teams, whether it was as a speed guy, a gadget guy, a returner. He has an NFL role with a good team. He's proven that. Can he make enough plays in the passing game to go, hey, you know what? Malik Heath, it was great, but sorry. Like, if Christian Watson starts the year on PUP, you've got Golden, Dobbs, Reed, Wicks, Williams. And then you got to deal with, okay, that's 4. And then you've got Christian Watson, who's on the, Golden, Dobbs, Reed, Wicks, Williams. That's 5. I can't count. That's 5. Plus Christian Watson's on PUP. Plus Malik Heath is a good player. So, like, are you going to keep 7 and Christian Watson? This is, again, why I think a trade is in the offing here. But I think Mecole Hardman, and maybe he's the trade piece. Maybe this is a showcase. Hey, make a couple plays. We're going to call some deep shots for you and see if we can get you somewhere where you can actually contribute somewhere. I don't think that's crazy. The last player I'm going to mention here. No, there's 2 more, actually. Let's have some fun. Nazir Stackhouse is one of them. I think he got some run with the ones earlier this week. He has an opportunity here to fight, maybe not to start, but to be that it's 1st and 10 kind of player. Early down runs, 3rd and 2s, goal lines. He can fight his way into this rotation. And then while Marshawn Lloyd is hurt, which is right now, the Packers love Chris Brooks. They love Emmanuel Wilson. Josh Jacobs is not going anywhere. The guy that I can't wait to see is Israel Abanikanda, who they brought in about a week ago. He's got so much juice, showing some other things, showing the ability to pass protect, a well-rounded skill set. I loved him in the pre-draft. I wanted the Packers to draft him in the pre-draft. He is someone who I think could play a lot. A lot. Like, I don't think Mecole Hardman's going to play a lot. I don't think Isaiah Simmons is going to play a lot. I think Nazir Stackhouse, he's a nose tackle. He's probably not going to play a lot. Like, there's a world in which Israel Abanikanda is playing 40 snaps this weekend. He is one of the players I am most excited to see, and I think he can fight his way on this team with a nice performance. Now, someone who doesn't have to fight his way onto the team, but may have to be fighting the narrative right now is Javon Bullard. We're going to talk about him because the coach Talked about him next on Locked On Packers. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're all about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel is the best way to make every game even more exciting. You've already been following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned on the beach. I keep saying friends like that every time. I don't know why. Friends, your friends, they're getting sunburned on the beach. You could be making cash. You could be making cash money with FanDuel. If you're new to FanDuel, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. Open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. Matt LaFleur doesn't want to hear it. He does not want to hear it. It's been remarkable how much, whether it's a conversation in a press conference or it is a play on the field, where we have talked about something on this show, and the same day, a mere hours later, we get the very answer. Hey, so is Javon Bullard doing what you need him to do? How do you like this safety room coming together and all the versatility? Here's what Matt LaFleur said.
As far as Bull's concerned, yeah, I think he's had an outstanding camp in terms of, I know you guys probably look at, a one-on-one rep and he gets beat or whatever. That's not what we're looking at. So I think he's done an outstanding job, just in terms of his ability to play within the box, knowing what's going on. He's doing double duty at nickel and at safety. So he's a really good young player that's going to continue to get better and better and better the more he plays.
And I went back and listened to the things that I said yesterday, and I do wish I had been a little more measured with some of the Javon Bullard stuff. Because, first of all, because I know how much they like him, and I did say that, and how much I liked him. And I even offered the caveat, hey, one-on-ones highly favor the offense. This is not that big a deal. I do still think it's the case that their best three cover players are Hobbs, Nixon, and Valentine. So how do you square that circle? That is still the question here. So I still believe that the preference for the Packers is for Javon Bullard to be the nickel. He's a safety, but he's playing in the nickel. You don't want to take that guy off the field on 3rd and 8. But maybe that's the move, frankly. I mean, maybe it is. I don't think that's outrageous. 3rd and 12. 3rd down in the red zone. I don't know. I think this is a good reminder, though. And Diana Rossini was talking about this recently, friend of the show. She was saying, she hears from coaches all the time, especially about quarterbacks. You don't know what we're asking of them. You don't understand what we're asking them to do. And so it's kind of unfair for you to say, oh, so-and-so struggled or so-and-so did this. Now, is some of that ass covering? Yeah. But it's also true. So it's why I have actually, and you can go back and look, I try my in-game social media. I have tried, unless I am damn certain, I have tried to stop doing the in-the-moment coverage responsibility game, especially with safeties. Oh, was that cover 3? Was that quarters? Was that buzz? Was that robber? Now, some of those are easier to discern than others in real time. But, okay, what were the responsibilities there? Just because so-and-so was the closest defender does not mean they were responsible for the mistake or they were responsible for the play. In fact, sometimes you see a safety running after a play because the other safety screwed it up, or because a linebacker screwed it up, or because a corner screwed it up, and vice versa. So it is sometimes difficult. In one-on-ones, they make it easy. It's you versus him. But that's misleading from a watcher standpoint because this drill is so heavily tilted to the offense. It's why I first of all, I prefer to trust my own eyes. I prefer to trust the tape because then I can, in non-real time, dissect. Okay, what do I think the coverage was? Let me watch it and rewatch it and try and figure out what the responsibilities were and then attempt to divine fault. And even then, I try to be a little bit more diplomatic about it. Now, it can be obvious, but it's also practice. And sometimes players are put in situations, not just Javon Bullard, but any player where it's like, okay, well, we're gonna give you the A look here against this defense. Can you figure it out? Or if you're a defense, we're gonna put you in the least advantageous situation possible. Sometimes that's gonna happen. You got to work it out. You got to figure it out. And so for Matt LaFleur to be emphatic, almost bemused that this is happening, that this is the criticism. Like, these guys aren't stupid. They've got a whole team of media people saying, this is what's being said. This is what's being written. These are the conversations that are happening. Not that it should or does affect their decision-making, but that is part of the job. It's part of the job for the Packers PR people, their media people. That's what they're supposed to be doing. So, this is something that I want to see play out. I'm still high on Javon Bullard. I see no reason. I know the PFF coverage grades were bad last year and there were some reps one-on-one against like Jordan Addison and some of these. Like, how many nickels in the league in man coverage on a slot fade are going to be able to cover Jordan Addison? Like, come on. That is a very tough ask. So if you're the Packers and you want this guy to be in that situation, then you better get home. You better get pressure. You better make it so everyone knows what's going on, so that in those situations, those disadvantageous matchups, if you're Xavier McKinney, you got to know, hey, I might have to help here, and I might have to be hauling ass to help. That's part of the evolution of this defense, and so is creating more turnovers. Like, I think Matt LaFleur is absolutely right to point out, as a guy playing in the box, it was evident right away last year when they moved to Javon Bullard, his force in the run game, in the screen game, in the underneath game, his rally and tackle was so much better than Keyshawn Nixon. But Keyshawn Nixon looks like the better cover player. So how do you balance those things? And that's what it's going to have to be structural. I was talking to a coaching source, and they were like, the Packers are using Javon Bullard the right way. This is the way to use. This is the best way to use him. We had Coach A, Cody Alexander, chime in on Twitter. Say, look, Bullard is a nickel. They got to keep him in the nickel. I have been adamant. He is a nickel. I don't want to come off that. And look, I'm telling you, some training camp practices are not going to make me change my mind about that. I am more open to that possibility because I was kind of hoping for a step here whole offseason to get ready to play nickel. But it's so early still. I'm trying to be measured here. The problem is I got to do this every day. And so sometimes that means leaning in on a narrative that good sense says, hey, let's just relax for a second. Can we just relax for a second on this? And in retrospect, you go, I wish I would have relaxed for just a second. Maybe just a second. Now with Nate Hobbs out, they don't really have a choice. This is their situation. And maybe that's the best thing for Javon Bullard, is to get those reps. Is to play some preseason games. Not that I think he's, some inexperienced player. He played the nickel at Georgia. Then he played safety at Georgia. Like, he's a 2-year big time contributor at a big time program and was the day one starter last year. This is a player with pedigree, with talent, with experience. I'm just, more often than not, I'm going to bet on those players and feel pretty good about it. All right, Travis Glover, backup guard for the Packers. His season is over. We'll talk about that and the ripple effects next on Locked On Packers. This episode is presented by Yahoo Fantasy. NFL kickoff almost here, and that means fantasy football season back in full swing. And this year, Yahoo Fantasy is turning things up with a fantasy football experience like never before. This year, me and Locked On Packers are playing Yahoo Fantasy, and you should too, whether you're a first-timer or a veteran making your millionth league. Fantasy football is Yahoo. Yahoo is fantasy football to me. Always has, always will be. To celebrate 28 years of fantasy football greatness, Yahoo Fantasy is dropping 28 big new features over 28 days throughout August. To kick it off, they just dropped Yahoo Fantasy Guillotine Leagues, a killer new way to play fantasy football on Yahoo, where the lowest scoring team gets eliminated each week until there's one team left standing. With the season around the corner, now's the time to get your league together and give this new mode a try. If you're more into the classics, hey, you can still play head-to-head in private leagues or join a public league. Stay tuned for more killer announcements and start playing Yahoo Fantasy Football now at yahoofantasy.com/LockedOnNFL. And thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen. For your second listen, check out Locked On Bets. Betting expert Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers have daily MLB locks and can't miss football futures. Find Locked On Bets on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Travis Glover placed on IR for the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay brings in a receiver because, why not? I guess. And that means Travis Glover's season is over. If you start practicing in training camp and then get put on the IR, it's over. If you are put on IR at cutdown, that's a different thing. And if you never practice and start the season on IR, that's a different thing. So just a point of order for the rules, because I think that's important. I saw some misunderstandings of that on social because they've changed the rules and they keep changing the rules. And, that's the way the NFL seems to operate, I guess. So his season is over. And from his standpoint, from a player development standpoint, that is a huge bummer because he is someone who needed the work, needed the rep. Coming from Georgia State, a developmental player, a day 3 pick, someone that, they were excited enough about to play in a playoff game instead of Jacob Monk, who it looks like is going to be a preferred backup this year. And so now, Travis Glover, his season is over. And I think he has to feel like he's behind John Williams, who we still haven't seen from Cincinnati. Seems like more likely than not, he starts his season on IR or PUP or whatever, I guess PUP, because he hasn't played yet. And Donovan Jennings. Donovan Jennings, someone who's gotten some run at center, gotten some run at guard. He's another one of those players. Didn't quite make my list of like the players with the most to gain here. But when you think about his position on this team, Sean Ryan's probably going to be either the starting guard or the platoon guard with Jordan Morgan or the first guard off the bench. Maybe the first center off the bench too. Donovan Jennings is battling Jacob Monk right now for that spot. Personally, I think Donovan Jennings is just a more talented player. He's someone who I think with a good preseason can catapult himself into, hey, I made the team, especially with someone like John Williams hurt. And now Travis Glover is hurt. I wouldn't be surprised if we got to week 1 and neither of the players who played for Elton Jenkins at guard are on the final 53 for the Packers. Now, not quite fair because Glover's going to be on IR, but I wouldn't be surprised if Kadeem Telford just straight up does not make the team. Because they have Jordan Morgan. They have Anthony Belton. Those are your backup tackles. And I just don't know that we've seen anything from Kadeem Telfort that says you are an NFL player. He's big. There's some size things to like, some strength things to like, but man, it's just like this. He was a 2023 class. So we're talking about year 3 now. Like, you got to be showing stuff in year 3. And, not a name that's going to get a lot of, publicity when it comes to something like family night or training camp, but it was not the best at family night. Now, do you need more backup tackle? Like, if Jordan Morgan wins the left tackle job, you have Rasheed Walker. If Rasheed Walker wins the backup left tackle job, you have Jordan Morgan. Anthony Belton is another backup tackle. You have your starting 5 from last year plus Aaron Banks with Elton Jenkins moving into center. So you're just your backup offensive lineman, Morgan, Jennings, Monk, Belton. That's 9 guys. I don't think Kadeem Telfort makes his team. And that's without including John Williams, who is someone that I thought could have gone much sooner in the draft than the 7th round. He was projected to go sooner in the draft than the 7th round. So Travis Glover being out, he is someone who I think could have played a half this weekend. So now those snaps have to go elsewhere. Are you giving Donovan Jennings more opportunities then? Are you letting Jacob Monk play a little bit of guard? Do you see Anthony Belton at right and left tackle? Do you see him at right tackle and right guard? What kind of alignments does this allow you to get to that maybe you didn't get to before? And so who does that benefit? I think Donovan Jennings and Jacob Monk have to be at the top of that list, the interior guys who would be next up. Those are the players who are going to get these opportunities, and they're players who, frankly, I think I would have rather seen anyway. Now, Jacob Monk, to me, center only. I don't know that we've seen much beyond that. I don't know that we've seen much at all from him, but I am still interested, at the very least, in what Donovan Jennings can do here. And so if this opens a path for him, I'm for it. Because I think last year, had he been healthy and gotten a full, offseason of work and all that stuff, and he didn't, and so that was the problem. Donovan Jennings would have been a guy I would have rather seen out there than Kadeem Telfort and Travis Glover, but that's just not how it was able to play out. It could not have happened like that. So that's not Jennings' fault. That's not the Packers' fault. That's no one's fault. That's just the way it was. He's one of those guys that this could most benefit, and it could frankly catapult him onto this roster. Someone like Donovan Jennings, I know he's been a Packer Twitter darling, a Packer blogosphere darling. I get it. It's almost a meme at this point, but I'm excited to see it. All right, more to come as we get you ready for Packers Jets tomorrow. That show will be out there. We'll be talking about guys, things to watch for, things we're excited to see, maybe some Jets players to have fun with and watch. We're not going to do a crossover, guys. Let's be serious. That's crazy talk on a preseason game. But we're going to have some fun, and we will go live after the game on Saturday night. Follow me on the social medias, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. Wherever you find podcasts, you will find Locked On Packers. Also, wherever you listen to podcasts, you'll find Locked On Packers. We're on YouTube, so you can stay Locked On Packers.